Hi everyone. Welcome to our Global Construction Tech Innovation Session. My name is Matisse, Strategy and Innovation Analyst at Impulse Partners. I'll be your host today, and this session will be focused on digital construction. We'll get started and people will join as we go along. We've got an exciting program for today. So here's the agenda. We are really happy to welcome a guest speaker from Dawn Tomasetti, followed by the pitch of 4 exciting startups. Also, please remember there'll be time at the end for a Q&A, open discussion. So if you have any questions about any of the speakers, please do keep them in mind, and we can discuss everything at the end. There'll also be a time after every presentation for a few questions. See a couple of familiar faces today, which is good. Good morning, good afternoon to everybody, wherever you may be. Owens Corning, Pomelo, Saint-Gobain, Bouygues, Clayco, thank you all for being here. So before introducing our speakers for today, I'd like to say a few words about our Global ComTech program. So here at Impulse Partners, we've been passionately dedicated to construction innovation for over a decade now. Our main goal is to speed up innovation in construction, real estate, energy and infrastructure, and also bring together key players of the sector on a global scale. So to do so, we've developed a global ecosystem of entrepreneurs, tech firms, VCs, decision makers that play all a vital role in accelerating innovation, driving economic growth and solving complex societal issues. Impulse Partners is currently bringing together companies from around the world to execute a global initiative to boost construction tech innovation. So we accelerate go-to-market strategies, we help startup scales, we do a lot of other things. And today there are over 20 players around the world with their innovation. We support over 20 players in the world, with their innovation challenges. I'd like to zoom in onto one of our offers that we have been fostering recently. That is our accelerator programs. So here are 3 examples of them. So for CRH Ventures, we focus on challenges around water. So that includes stormwater, wastewater, potable water, and we identified over 500 solutions worldwide, among which 110 applied to the program, and 6 have now been selected to engage in compelling pilot projects with CRH across North America and Europe. For Ellis Dunn, the challenges were more varied. We helped first understand and map the evolving market trends. Then we identified and capitalized on the opportunities that generate innovative solutions on construction job sites. So over 100 startups applied, 8 were selected for a pitch day, and now there are 3 pilot programs 3 startups that have entered discussions with Ellis Dunn operating teams to plan pilot programs. For Barton Malow, so a US contractor leveraging an integrated self-perform approach, the challenge areas were far more specific. They needed solutions that help automate labor-intensive processes, installing and operating solar farms, capturing data on different job sites, mapping underground utilities, and also choosing land for urban development. So we identified 180 solutions, of which 30 applied to the program, and we also planned a pitch day with 8 of these solutions. We have a pitch day plan, with 8 of these solutions, so that they can incorporate these technologies, improving efficiency and costs on their job sites. So we're able to tailor to all scopes of problems through these accelerator programs, and no matter how narrow or wide, understanding the opportunities, then capitalizing on solutions in a structured and managed approach is what we aim to do. So we have identified and qualified some of the best startups worldwide. We have over 3,000 startups qualified. We've had collaborations between 400 startups and corporates, and we've supported numerous entrepreneurship projects and have been involved in multiple investment deals. That was just a brief overview of what we do here at Impulse Partners on the global side. But if you are interested in learning more, please don't hesitate to reach out and contact us with the email on the screen. Enough said about Impulse, and I'm really excited for today. First, we've got Grant McCullough from Thornton Tomasetti to present his approach on their approach to technology. We've then got four exciting entrepreneurs to present their startups. Alex Sidoroff, CIO and CFO at Gamma AR, Miyuni Shihira, Global Marketing and Public Relations Representative at Spiral Robotics, Daniel Seidel, CEO at Interactive, and then finally Tim Pierce, VP from Converge, will conclude the session. So, as I said, at the end of each presentation, we'll have a few minutes for question and answers, and we'll have open discussions at the end. So please use the chat or activate your microphone if you do have any questions. I do invite you during the presentations to mute all your microphones so that we can run smoothly. So yeah, without further ado, Grant, to start off this session, yeah, the floor is yours, Grant. If you have a presentation, if you have slides, please feel free. I believe you're still muted, Grant.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I don't have a deck because we go through a week and we all see about 50 decks in a week. So I figured the last thing we need is another deck. So I'm just going to talk for, I think we just have about 10 minutes. And first off, I'd like to thank Impulse for putting together this forum and the other forums that they have. I've been in the industry for 40 years. If you don't wake up now and run to your desk to figure out what in this buffet of change and technology and tectonic shifts daily in our industry, you're in the wrong spot, right? I mean, this is the most exciting time ever, bar none. So just by quick way of background, I started my career as an architect. I was a fellow in the AIA. I went to business school, became a corporate finance guy, had my own global design build firm of management consulting, an A&E company, a CM at risk company, and then a large program management practice, all in very specific technical end markets. And it was a pull-through model of business solutions consulting into CapEx. Where's a CapEx? There's an A&E contract. Pull that into a CM at risk with negotiated fee, design, build, shared savings contract, and then large-scale program management contracts in very specific technical end markets: aviation, aerospace, advanced manufacturing, biotech, pharma, et cetera, et cetera. I sold that company a long time ago to AECOM and was vice chairman of AECOM for almost a 10-year run. I was our ops guy, our strategic guy, corporate finance, and we were the first real aggregator in the industry on a pretty aggressive M&A program, and I helped quarterback that. After AECOM, I was an operating partner at GSL Blackstone and then at Ares Management, and periodically I'm on different public and private company boards. I've had the pleasure of serving on WSP's board during a pretty high growth period, Hill International, which we just sold. And then about 8 or 9 years ago, I was serving on a board of a company called Weidlinger, experts in blast and protector design. And they were acquired by Thornton Tomasetti. We merged the companies. I jumped to TT's board. So that's how I got to today. The first task we had in that merger was to assess the applied science IP that we had at Thornton Tomasetti at Weidlinger, of which there were about maybe 24 pieces of IP that hadn't been monetized, and about 24 pieces of IP at Core Studios at Thornton Tomasetti. So we put them all together, had to get up the learning curve very quickly. This is 7-8 years ago, rank ordered them, and then funded our first accelerator, where we pulled 5 startups out of the Core Studios combined incubator into an accelerator. We have a second accelerator now, which has another 2 products in it. So our first initiative was to create an accelerator that would pull products out of the Core Studios incubator that we felt had a broader application, much more potential than just a strategic advantage within TT. That we could have a pretty aggressive and detailed plan on funding and commercializing and exiting those investments. We also had started a fund of funds. At that time, we put money into Metaprop and Building Ventures, little money into Shadow, Parkway. And then the third bucket, and this is all the kind of stuff I quarterback, the third bucket is a small VC platform we have called AEC Angels. They're 4-member companies, Thornton Tomasetti, Shop Architects, who's pretty progressive with their IP, both internally and their investments. STO, formerly Structure Tone, major commercial, mostly tenant build out, but now they've done another number of acquisitions in non-commercial space, and Sisk and Hennessy. And we meet monthly. We do Shark Tanks. We see 3 or 4 pitches a month. One of us, if it's something that falls into the CM side, we'll ask STO to quarterback some due diligence and maybe a quick beta. If it's engineering, we'll throw it over to TT or Siska. If it's architectural, Shop will take it. We'll reconvene. We'll decide if we all like it. We'll kind of give it our own like light endorsement. And then using this Band of Angels model, which is, so we're not a fund at AEC Angels. We're basically an investment club of people who are smart in the industry. Then once we decide we like it, then we will, any one of our 4 companies will invest directly in that particular raise. Typically 2 or 3 of us invest in a raise. It's usually seed 1, seed 2. We do have a couple investments, Series A, and a couple in B. And the checks that we write are typically in the $100,000 range each for each of these deals that pop up. So we'll be investing $250,000 to maybe $400,000 or $500,000 in each of these transactions. And we probably do 6 or 7 a year, and now we've been at this for 4 years. At TT, where I'm just an outside director doing this, I think across all of these initiatives we touch, I think we touch nearly 100 or just over 100 startups that we've invested in over the last handful of years. I think one of the things that I might mention here at TT is this internal system we have of bringing products to market. So it actually starts with something called Core Labs, where twice a year we'll have presentations from anyone in the corporation who has, and typically there are about 20 of them that pop up twice a year, where one person or a team have been working on a project and have come up with an idea. So they'll present it to our group. We will select maybe 10 of them and give awards of $25,000, maybe 50, to a team with an idea to spend over the next 6 months of unbilled time. So that's an allowance of unbilled time that they get to go away and bake the product and come back. So either 6 months, usually 6 months later, they all come back and make a presentation while we're seeing the next round of this rolling group of ideas out of the lab. We'll pick 3 or 4 and we'll fund them again. That begins to put new flow into the incubator, which the first platform is Core Labs. The incubator is Core Studios. There are about 30 full-time developers, strategists, coders in Core Studios. They'll take those ideas plus the others that they're working on and bake them throughout the year. And once a year, then the accelerator called Twin 1 and Twin 2 come in and look at what we've got sitting in the incubator, and we'll pull out several to commercialize. So an example of 2 quick examples would be we had a piece of IP that came over from Weidlinger, and because they were black, and so this is an example of something that's came out of our engineering expertise, but is outside of our wheelhouse. About 10 years ago, after one of the Gulf Wars, the Department of the Navy asked Weidlinger to develop a piece of software to improve the quality of the images in their portable ultrasounds that are used on a battlefield. And when they explained this to me, I'm like, wow, how does that relate to anything that we do? Well, it turns out that, of course, Weidlinger is this global expert in blast and protective design. It's all wave management and wave theory in their business. They're experts in piezoelectric analysis and what have you. So they were able to apply that expertise and write code and develop a piece of software that then became licensed to companies like Toshiba and Siemens. So if you're an engineer at Siemens, you might own 10 licenses of PZ Flex, and you got one of them, and you're able to use that license to go into a physical piece of equipment which has been modeled and do virtual simulation to improve the efficacy of the image. So as we all know, you don't take the equipment apart anymore and fix each piece and put it back together like a picture. You actually virtually simulate millions and millions of changes over the course of a month to get, in this case, a better image. So this company had a batch of licenses. It was sitting around. We moved it to Cupertino. We hired a new CEO who had some not dissimilar experience, and he was a great capital markets guy. We refocused it on the 5G market, which is also about vibration and wave management when you pull it apart and think about screens and what have you. And we did a Series A with Google Gradient and Intel Capital at a nice valuation, and then we sold it to Ansys in the strategic sale at at 63 times ARR, and that was a year ago. So it's an example of something that was kind of out there, but applied directly to our engineering expertise that then we developed. The last one is T2D2. At TT, we've had a division in the company that's been focused on it's a machine learning and AI division at TT. It's been around for 8 or 9 years. So these guys are sitting around a couple of years ago, and they said, we have 3.5 terabytes of data, of images that Thornton Tomasetti has been collecting of facade deteriorations for 30 years. There's a library of masonry. There's a library of high-rise stucco. There's a library of granite. There's a library of concrete, and we have millions of images. So that gave our guys this bright idea. Let's write some code here and figure out how we can more efficiently have AI analyze the image and categorize the images, and we'll turn it into a company. So it started again kind of as a science fair project in-house. We ran it for about 2.5 years, and 2 years ago we brought it to market as a real company. It's called T2D2. Our clients are, major real estate portfolio owners, developers, and very simply, as a client, what you get is a portal. So the portal, you'll turn it on in the morning, and you'll click one of your 46 buildings. And we've already flown a drone with one of our partners, captured 3,000 images, 4,000 images, 1,000 on each facade side, and analyze them with the AI, which is actually more accurate than doing it in person. And we've got a lot of metrics around that. You tap on your screen, a particular dot, wham, there's the crack. You tap it again, and it says this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. That's the severity index. And when we go back then with the license that you've procured, we'll go back every 6 or 12 months, and you can see real time, like what's happening to your building, so that you can get ahead of it for preventative maintenance. Well, with all the focus now on facades, especially in our big cities, the company is very, very active. So that's kind of a final example of how we take our internal systems and develop something and then go ahead and commercialize it. I think that's I'm probably out of time. So maybe I'll just open it up for questions. I just wanted to leave you with this picture of how we started this at TT, why we started it, how we started it, the different pieces as a CVC that we have, and then how we bake some of our internal things as part of one of those pieces in the platform and bring them to market. That's all I got.
Thank you, Grant, for the explanation and those fascinating details. If anyone has any questions, please do feel free to write them in the chat or ask them, unmute the microphone. I had a quick question on all projects you invest in. Are they directly related to Thornton Tomasetti's activities? As in, do all of the projects you invest in used by Thornton Tomasetti, or some just external projects you find interesting?
So from core labs to core studios to Twin, which are the accelerators, that's all internally baked stuff. However, the fund of funds is that, we're just invested in a batch of other funds of smart guys who are doing other, investments out there. So we have a piece of 4 or 5 different funds. And then the last piece is AEC Angels, and 98% of that are not TT or Shop or STO or Cisco internally baked products. The IP those are all external.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense with different funds supporting different verticals. Well, thank you very much again.
We started that small VC platform so we could see what else people are doing, so that when we have one of these internal core lab presentations and somebody says, I've got a great idea, we're like, I think I just saw a presentation on this 6 months ago by Acme, and they're doing a Series B, so I think we should forget that one. But more importantly, that we could actually be exposed to 500 different things a year, so we could have an opinion about, all right, so we're invested in Reconstruct and Open Space and Hollow Builder all at the same time. Who do we think is going to win and why? So that one is, I think, very interesting for us, the AEC Angels platform, because it brings together a lot of real time expertise, so we can test it. I think we can do some pretty good due diligence, and then after we all invest, then we market this stuff like crazy. We use it on all of our projects where it's applicable. We're out there talking about it. These are all companies that we've taken a small piece of a raise in.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Thank you so much again for the discussion, and if you want to stick your contact details into the chat so people can follow up after, that would be great too. We'll be sharing everything after the session too.
Anybody has any questions, just call me direct or send me a note or a text.
Thank you again, Grant. Now, without further ado, I think we'll start the startup presentations. Alexander from Gamma IR, if you want to share your screen. So Gamma quickly is a company that provides information management and automation solutions for the construction industry via an app and web platform. Alexander, whenever you're ready, please go ahead.
Yours. Perfect. Do you see my screen?
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. Okay. And Grant, thank you very much. Apologies for having to send you to the 51st presentation or deck this week. Hope you still can enjoy it. And thank you also for the introduction. The last companies you mentioned are all from the reality capture space, which is amazing because we are doing exactly the reverse. And without further ado, let me start with the presentation. So what we do is augmented reality for construction. In general, what we have noticed from our customers over this last years is that there is already a lot of information out there on the construction side. And there is a lot of technologies which tries to bring back the information from the site to the office, like the all reality capture stuff. But actually, most decisions are still taken on site. And unfortunately, most mistakes happen on site, which bring rework. And that's exactly what we try to address. So we know that most buildings are built today still based on 2D plans that people need to interpret, which need to be validated. And then honestly, if looking at this, the picture on the left and then comparing to the picture on the right of the reality, spotting a mistake is almost impossible. Even if you will have a 3D viewer on your tablet and you will stand in front of things, without actually being able to compare them directly, it will be very difficult to see what is actually going on without needing to imagine this. And that's exactly what we address. So we believe there is no need to go from 3D to 2D and then capturing this again to 3D, capturing the deviations. If you can already bring the model as is to the side and let people work intuitively with this. A big advantage of this is that if you use just the word 3D and give this to superintendents, they will not be afraid of this tag as they will have as they will be from anything which is BIM connotated, right? For example. But it still gives all of the advantages, right? So people see intuitively what is there. They can play with the transparency, compare things intuitively, see what this needs to be built. They can see each object individually and decide hide it, etc. So in general, this is a way to help enable people on site to work with the same BIM models directly on site and taking the decisions quicker. And this is exactly what happens if you think just even not thinking about the rework directly, which is of course the biggest value added. If you can prevent it, well, that's a lot of money and time saved. Time to most customers is actually even more valuable. But even if you will look just at the QA/QC process, which you can run with comparing things, overlaying over the reality, saying, yeah, check, this works, as compared to the alternative methods which are done today, mostly, where you need to interpret, go measure, etc. It's a no-brainer that it takes much less time. So saving around 3 days a week to the people having to coordinate teams, having to coordinate other trades, having to compare and having to follow up on all the deviations identified. Of course, I mentioned this as a very nice tool, but CapEx is a big question, right? How do you do? How do you implement tech, which needs to be rolled out, right? There are so many fancy goggles out there, etc., which are great during the design phase most of the time, right? They're great to be used in an office environment. What we hear from customers, they're very difficult to bring on the site directly. So we need to rely on things like tablets, etc., which are already abundantly present, and people are actually used to use them already on sites. So this poses limitation to us because they are limited in terms of processing power, and that's where our I think unique strengths come in. We found a way to take even the most complex models. One of our customers do pharmaceutical plants, oil and gas, data centers, you name it, and without preparation of the models, any cutting or whatever, they can just upload them to the platform and use them on a tablet, on a normal commercially available tablet on site. Also, without having to prepare the site itself. So no QR codes, no beacons, nothing. You just go there and you use it as it is. And I will show in a second how it works. And the ease of use is, of course, very important because in our industry, if people don't get the result they want with 2-3 clicks, they're out of there. They're just not going to accept things. And last things, which this is also applicable to integrations, right? They don't want to use new tools, to learn new tools, to have all of new processes set up, right? So any solution needs to integrate with whatever they're already using, and that's what we do. So for those of you who are curious about how we integrate within the ecosystem, so we are seamlessly integrated with Autodesk. We can export the observations taken on site to well, again, Autodesk, but also Procore, BIM Collab, etc. A few other integrations are still in the roadmap. So the idea is really, we don't want to replace whatever field management solutions are out there. They are great. They're doing things better than we do. What we want is just taking the data and showing to people. That's what we do best. And essentially how it works is you go on site, you say, okay, I'm in front of this corner, column, wall, whatever. And the only thing you need to do is just showing a corner of the object and giving the direction of the object, and that's it. And then the model will appear almost magically in front of you. And this works also with the most complex models. So as I mentioned, this is a manufacturing facility from one from our automotive customers. It is a very MEP heavy model. Still, it works perfectly. And maybe also an important thing to note is our solution works without internet, so you can use it offline. It will then synchronize all of the observations back to the cloud once you're connected again, right? And it doesn't need any GPS, nothing. So you really just take the tablet to site, you just look at it, you collect observations intuitively, and then you do whatever you want with this in the way you're used to do it. And just finishing up a few words on the company itself. Started by an industry specialist and a computer scientist. We had an investment from a strategic investor, Husqvarna. They are the Northern Hilti. About 2 years ago, I joined last year in the growth phase of the company to take care of operations and financials. But we are a great team of 14 people, mostly based in Luxembourg. Small country, squeezed between Germany and France and Belgium here in Europe. And yeah, today we are looking at 80 customers, global customers actually. So yes, the core of them is in Europe, diverse by the way. So we work with general contractors, but also with asset owners, right? Some of the names you might recognize. But we also are on the biggest construction site in Thailand. We have a few customers in Canada and US. So we start our international expansion and currently also looking for support in the growth. So maybe I will be coming back on the Shark Tank thing, Grant, to you. Yeah, and without further ado, please feel free to shoot any question you have.
Thank you, Alexander, for that presentation. Yeah, as you said, if anyone has any questions, please do feel free to type them in the chat or on mute. Yeah, I had a question more about your development, your roadmap. So what's it looking like? Is it international expansion? Do you want to really establish yourself in the European market first? Or how do you see Gamma in the next 5 years?
Well, 5 years is a very, very long period. And as Grant mentioned, there are so many different, I want to say construction sites in the construction industry. So there are a lot of things to do. We are pretty remote for more customers, so we don't need to be physically present. Onboarding is very quick. So we do have more and more customers who just pop up. Funnily enough, a few from Indonesia just last week out of nowhere. That's good. I mean, augmented reality is currently a hype a little bit, and it's good because it is a second wave of a hype. We had some 10 years ago. People were a little bit disillusioned because the tech was not quite there yet. But now we are there and it actually works. So we have quite a lot of traction. So that's good, and this is global. But in general, it does not stop with construction process, right? We have requests from customers to keep using us after they have completed the construction. We have customers request also more facility management stuff. We have customers asking us to go into shipbuilding or into infrastructure. In the end, this is the same solution, which is applicable to a lot of different things. And the solution is showing information, augmenting the reality, because in the end, this is the trend. Whether it's Google Maps, which you're looking where to go, right? You see stuff blended with the reality. Why should it be different on construction sites?
I've got a quick question, but it's kind of a dumb one, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So let me make sure I understand this. So you can walk into a space, let's say it's 50% complete with its construction. You walk up to a column, you put a couple points in there, it identifies exactly where you are, and it goes to the Revit model, and all of a sudden you see the BIM model on the screen in front of you as to what it should look like when it's done as you walk through the space. Is that it?
Perfect. Our salespeople cannot be as concise. Great.
Wow. I mean, that's really fantastic. Okay. All right. I got it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and kind of a follow-up question to that too is how intuitive is it to use? Do Gamma provide support, as in, you know, for projects? How, if there are any issues, or is that part of the subscription?
Yeah. Of course, we try to support customers as much as possible. Usually, it's onboarding. I mean, the thing is that the actual features of the tech, they are not that complicated, right? It's really just the positioning, which takes 10 times, and then you're a pro at it. You have a few features like you can mark different status of objects, so you can do kind of progress tracking. You can identify quickly issues, so just one click, and then you have a picture of reality, of 3D, etc. So this part is very easy. I think the most difficult part for us in the beginning was that we started talking to people about BIM, and as soon as you talk about BIM to people on site, they shut off. They don't want to hear about this, right? For them, BIM is something which happens in the office. They don't care about this. This is something people need to do afterwards to deliver an as-built, right? But we actually realized that if we don't talk about BIM, people are much more receptive, and they get actually the added value from this. And the cool thing is that once people on site start seeing the BIM model around them, just 3D model around them, and they can identify deviations, and then they send us back to the office, and the office actually makes changes and updates the model. They come to the site next day and they see that there is a change. They start to trust the thing. And I think this is crucial. I think BIM in general, the deployment of BIM is currently at a point where it evolved as much as it could, and now there is a resistance. And I think this is kind of a solution, part of this. There are a lot of them, but this is part of the solution which will actually make the people on the site realize, okay, by the way, we can maybe accept this as well. We can actually trust it because it brings also value to us.
Thank you. If there aren't any more questions, or if there are, please do jot them down in the chat, and we can discuss them later. If not, I'll thank you again, Alexander, for that presentation, and I'll let Miyu now present. I'll let Miyu now. There's a quickly last question. Sorry. Can you pick any feature, column, stair, pipe, etc., at random at the job site, and the software will recognize it, or do we need to point it in the model first before you can be on the job site?
You don't need to do anything before you're on the job site. So you come to the job site, and then you can say, okay, I'm in this corner, I'm in front of this column, and it doesn't matter where it is. And the cool thing, so it will resemble a 2D plan in the beginning. So it's easy to locate where you are. You just say, okay, here I am. And then you just place the pins in the augmented reality bin part. So it's 2 clicks, and then off you go.
Thank you. Thank you for those specifications. Miyu, the floor is yours for Spiral Robotics, who develop autonomous indoor drones for inspecting and mapping hazardous sites.
Thank you for the introduction, and somehow I cannot share the screen, so Mathis will show it for me. Yes, and then I'm Miyu from Spiral Robotics company from Japan, and we are providing an autonomous drone monitoring solution in non-GNSS environment. Next one, please. Our service has started with a single request. The manager of a tunnel construction project shared with us, we don't want to send a single person for risky inspections underground. This feedback resonated with our mission, which is to drive sustainability in a construction industry. When you hear the word sustainability, you might think of climate change and also like environmental issues, but safety, efficiency, and productivity are also very important factors for the future generations. So we Spiral aims to meet the urgent needs in automation for the monitoring process towards this mission. Let's take a bit more closer look at the problems with the construction projects, focusing on infrastructures. First, site workers faces potential dangers that can be fatal. And second, the worksite environment still causes time-consuming and inefficient work processes. Third, the company's costs are getting higher because of a labor shortage and inflation. Next one, please. And to address those issues, Spiral have gotten the idea to use drones for streamlining the process to collect the information in a construction site. I'm sorry, the letter is not easy to see, but the drone have advantages because they won't require the scaffolding to build and add a new attachment in the environment. Also, drone can reach high areas where people cannot. The next one, please. But the question would be how to make drones fly underground, where the GNSS is denied. So we have developed a drone controlling system using QR codes. This controller is called MFA. So once you attach MFA to any drone, it flies while scanning a QR codes that have a flight plan information. So it sounds so simple, right? Next one, please. And this is how it works. First, you set the flight plan on our mobile app, and the charging ports opens automatically, and the drone fly by scanning QR codes on the wall or ceilings. And once it backs to a charging port, you can see the videos on our mobile app. Next one, please. And by using this technology, we provide one-stop solutions for autonomous and lean monitoring, which is called Spiral MFA. You receive all the devices that you need, and the drone collects information, and then you can analyze data on our app. And additionally, you can create a 3D point cloud if you need. Next one, please. Okay, and one of the biggest strengths of our solution is that it's easy to set up. So you don't need high levels of programming skills or expensive computers that is required to use SLAM-based drones. And Spiral's drone is also suitable for underground-like tunnels because the drone is the half size of the SLAM-based one, and also it can be operated in a narrow and dark area. Next one, please. So we have been focusing on tunnels and dams inspections and developing optimized usages according to our customers' requirements. Next one, please. This is our attractions. We have successfully collaborated with the Japanese government organizations and 5 major construction companies since 2019. Yes, thank you. This is our business model. We develop our service package, Spiral MFA, with the drone manufacturing companies in Singapore and India. Then by subscription, we provide that either directly or indirectly to the end customer, who is a construction companies or general contractors. Next one, please. Thank you. And this is our team. Our CEO has a deep experience in the drone industry, so we can provide a tailored solution for each environment and partners. And also our engineer team is very internationalized and have an expertise in a drone controlling system. Next one, please. Thank you. And we are doing this business not to just digitalize data, but to save people's lives and help companies to be more sustainable. Next one, please. And in France and Europe, we would like to find potential partners to do a joint demo, POC, using our indoor drone solutions. And I'm looking forward to hearing your needs and work with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Miyu. Thank you for that presentation. Once again, if anyone has any questions, please just unmute or type them out in the chat. You mentioned France and Europe. Are you also looking to enter the North American market, or is that something you're?
Yeah, currently we are aiming to expand our business in Europe, focusing in Europe, especially France and other surrounded countries.
Thank you. If any more questions, sorry, Grant.
Well, I was just going to say, I need to reach out to you about T2D2. There's a really interesting potential there.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you again, Miyu. If there are any more questions, please do feel free to write them in the chat, and we'll come back to them later. I'm now happy to welcome Daniel, who will present InnoActive, a cloud-based solution to deploy VR training for the global workforce. Daniel, if you want to unmute and share your screen, please feel free.
Yeah, just a second. Here we go. Yeah, welcome to meet you guys. I'm Daniel, founder and CEO of InnoActive. What we're doing is we're running a cloud platform which is allowing enterprises in the AEC industry to run complex and photorealistic simulations of their projects in VR in order to validate validate the construction early in the process. And so we are focusing on the later end of the project, so the visual validation. So we have developed a way how to render these photorealistic experiences in the cloud and then stream it into a standalone VR headset, like seen here on the screen. So a bit like Gamma AR from the purpose, but later in the stage and focused on VR. So as you know, it's mandatory to find errors and facilitate good decisions very early in the process to engage as many people as possible in order to have a good outcome on a project. And with VR, actually more than half of the US AEC companies already using VR regularly. For example, for reviewing designs, for client presentations, it's also for collaboration on the BIM data. But the problem is that the hardware access actually is blocking adoption. So in order to have a hardware equipment to render this digital twin in a photorealistic way, you need to have a $5,000 to $10,000 hardware setup, especially when it comes to physics simulation and so on. And with our cloud platform, you can just have the same digital twin, the same simulation running in the cloud to reach a lot of more users, because everyone can just with one click start this in the cloud and stream it to the standalone VR headset. The only thing that people need is actually a web browser capable device like an iPad in this picture, and a headset, and obviously a fast internet connection for streaming. I should mention that. So our platform looks like this. We have integrations with the most important tools out there indirectly. So for example, companies using Revit, AutoCAD, Navisworks, and so on, they actually can import the data into tools like VREX, which is a BIM collaboration tool for VR, into Enscape or Twinmotion, which are visualization tools to take, for example, Revit data and then visualize it in 3D in a photorealistic way, and also NVIDIA Omniverse, which is very interesting for more complex digital twins. And so once the data has been imported through those third-party solutions, these applications can be running on our platform in the cloud and then streaming into the headset that people or the device that people actually have. So maybe only to the tablet, or also if people have a VR headset, into the like Meta Quest, for example. We're also working on AR in the future, but it's not there yet. So it goes obviously to be a XR platform. This is all hosted in the cloud. And for streaming, we use NVIDIA Cloud XR. Going a bit into the applications, so VREX I already mentioned. It's a VR tool to load a large BIM data in a collaborative room to find errors earlier in the project. Then Enscape which is more like for the visualization part, similar like Twinmotion and Omniverse. So for each of them, the user journey is like the following. So starting with VREX, you pick a data which you want, like data source where you want to connect from, for example, Navisworks. Then you invite project members to your meeting. And then via our technology, they can provide a meeting link, which they click in their Outlook or calendar tool. And then the meeting application VREC starts in the cloud, running on our platform, streaming to the iPad, and optionally also to the standalone VR headset. This means people can really immerse themselves into a remote or not existing BIM construction data set together and make better decisions. With Enscape and Twinmotion, it's like you create a Enscape project like usual on your PC. Then you create a self-sustained executable with Enscape, which you upload to our platform. And then again, with one click, you can stream this interactive application to your Quest. Not needing any PC, so you can share this with your client or customer, and they can visualize this on their device. We have also a case study with Lake Flato. So if you get the slides, you can just read this on the NVIDIA page. So they are using our platform to stream Enscape applications into standalone VR headsets. This helps them a lot to give this powerful technology to the people in their organization, but also to the customer without deploying new hardware. Twinmotion, also a great tool, pretty similar, just upload to a platform and stream. And with Omniverse, I want to especially mention that this is, I think, a pretty interesting technology, which a lot of customers, especially so we're not only in AEC, we also are in manufacturing and energy segments. So this is pretty powerful because it comes with a lot of interfaces and it works very similar. So you create a digital twin for physics simulation or for whatever. You upload it to our platform and then you can render this in the cloud. And for Omniverse, usually a PC which is needed, a workstation is around $10,000 US each. So with this, you can have the same experience or a similar experience with just an iPad and a standalone VR headset. So summarized, we are eliminating the PC from deploying AEC XR applications. You can use by giving the users access to on-demand GPU compute in the cloud. It's a simple one-click solution. So we wrap all the complexity of the cloud orchestration into our platform. It's cross-platform. You can stream into any standalone VR device. So if the Apple comes out with the Vision Pro finally, then you can stream to that without changing anything under the hood. And our cloud platform is worldwide available. So we have 70 data centers. So it should be, because streaming into VR needs to have a very low latency. That's what we can provide. And obviously it's enterprise grade secure because the data is very sensitive. So our team, so I'm Daniel, as said, so we're a 10 people company scattered across Europe, remote only. We are working for a set like Flato, but also in other industries like ExxonMobil and Chevron, Siemens Energy, Verizon, Roche. So all companies who have large manufacturing halls, but also large construction sites for creating new plants. And and our partner ecosystem is quite wide because we have these list of supported integrations with Omniverse, Enscape, you name it, on the one side, but also with Vive or the VR headset vendors like Meta on the other side. So thanks for listening. I'm open to your questions.
Thank you very much, Daniel, for that presentation. Again, if anyone has any questions, please do jot them down in the chat. Maybe one question on the use cases. So do the company, if I understand correctly, the company just shows this to their employees, and this eliminates all the need to buy all the equipment next to it, right? So I was thinking more about the Lake. Sorry, if you go forward a bit.
Which one do you mean?
Sorry, the Lake Flato one.
This one.
Yeah. I'm just struggling to understand the need to carry the full PC headset set up to the customers.
Yeah, well, the thing is that if they want to present the architectural design to a customer with a real-time photorealistic experience, then in order to render that, you need to have a workstation PC. So if you want to have real time, obviously, if you just want to show a still picture, then you can just send this as a JPEG. But if you want to have a real time simulation, you need to render this on a PC. Which means you have a PC, you have a cable, you have a headset, and you have not only the cost, but also the complexity of the technology. So there are a lot of weak spots where this can fail. And these PC VR driven experiences, they're gonna stay because the data is getting more complex, and the headsets are going to get smaller and smaller. So that's why our strategy is, or our solution is to bring this to keep the render power, but just put it in the cloud. And the use cases is everything for what a visualization could be used. Could be for selling a new apartment, like in this picture. It could be for getting the buy-in from the customer for the final agreement. Could be some people even use it for training and so on. So it depends on the application the customer is running on our platform.
Thank you for that. Alex, if you have a question.
Yeah, because it looks really awesome, and I know how hot even our devices run when you start visualizing something. So I understand that if you have Unreal Engine models, it will be just gigantic. So I definitely see the added value. Now you started mentioning this at the end of the last question, that your customers might use this not just to presentation purposes, like it will not be just the architects, the asset owners, but also in exploitation afterwards, right? So training purposes, etc. Could you maybe a little bit elaborate on this, in which direction you go? Because would it then be any course they can set up that can run in any other platform? But I'm not aware that the other platforms are actually doing classes or courses online or in virtual reality. So if this is something which is feasible to you, where does this information come from then?
Yeah, so we are completely application agnostic. So this means it's a bit like maybe a different positioning. So like you have an end-to-end solution, right? Which exactly solves one problem. And we have more like a cloud platform which allows applications like yours to run on and to take our cloud computing infrastructure and maybe integrate it into your solution. That's one way to go. And if for example, this is just our pitch deck for AEC, but we have customers in, like, for example, in the manufacturing field where they have, let's say, they're using Omniverse, they're using VREX for their manufacturing halls, but they're also using other solutions for training. And these training tools, they come with training, let's say, authoring tools, which they, for example, like Motive.io. And then they create a training lecture with Motive.io, which is again based on Unity. But this is something which doesn't have anything to do with Enscape or Twinmotion because they are not used for training.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
So we should talk, I guess.
Yeah, please. Let's have a talk.
Thank you for those for that question and for those specifications, Daniel. And again, thank you for the presentation.
Sure.
I'll now welcome Tim Pearce, VP at Converge, to the floor. So a solution that combines AI and data from sensors to digitalize concrete strength. Tim, whenever you're ready.
Hello, Mattis. Good afternoon, everybody. I'll just get straight into it. I'll just share my slides. You should now be able to see my my screen, Mattis. Can you just confirm?
Yeah.
Excellent. My apologies. I'm unable to run through my slides in presentation mode. So I will leave it in this format and just move through. So Mattis, thanks for the introduction. Tim Pearce, I'm the VP commercial at Converge, based out of London, although we have a global footprint. And who is Converge? We're focused on driving efficiency, safety, and sustainability by digitizing the physical reality of construction. And the way we've chosen to do that is that we've tackled a very big problem, which is material performance in construction, and we focused on concrete initially. And we have two solution areas, one called Concrete DNA, which deals with everything to do with in situ concrete, and then the second is Precast DNA. So then the other end of the supply chain in terms of precast factories and optimizing their operation. So I'll start with Concrete DNA. And what we've developed is a suite of sensors that I will talk about in a couple of slides, that are either fully or partially embedded in concrete, and that then give predictive analytics and insight into the material performance. So what that lets us do is predict compressive strength gain in concrete, and that's what we call Concrete DNA Cure. So we can either provide insights into temperature differentials for mass concrete applications, or into strength development, and what's typically referred to as maturity in the trade of concrete in the construction process. And we have two very exciting beta solutions that we're taking to market at the beginning of next year, called Data Hub and Mix AI. Data Hub really is a process optimization and automation layer that sits across the entire concrete life cycle, and Mix AI allows us to work with ready mixers and with concrete contractors to fine-tune the constituent parts of the concrete mix, and we can optimize that then either for performance, for cost, or for embodied carbon. But really, the ultimate goal is to reduce embodied carbon in the concrete mix. So as I've said, we embed sensors the sacrificial sensors that we develop are attached to the rebar, and then either through your mobile phone using Bluetooth or through an automated Signal Live hub, they communicate to the cloud and into the Concrete DNA application. And what you can see in the application then is the actual behavior of the concrete in situ. So actually on the site where it's being poured and used, and furthermore, it predicts the strength gain of the concrete in that particular environment. So it takes away a lot of the guesswork, and those predictions take into account the ambient weather data and predicted forecast weather over the coming days and weeks. So we give you very accurate insight into the strength gain of the concrete. We've heard some other presenters today talk about BIM. So we integrate with BIM. We launched the first sort of digital twin of concrete working with Gammon out in Hong Kong. And what you can see here is our data is then fed into the BIM model, which is showing the performance of the slabs that are green here. So they've reached the required strength in order to be able to move on to the next stage. What you can see with these additional pours up here is giving you the information around strength and around their minimum and maximum temperature profiles. So there's three main use cases associated with the use of our technology. The first is productivity. So striking formwork, for example, or removing propping, or post-tensioning at exactly the right moment when the concrete's at the right compressor strength to be able to perform that action. And what we see our customers able to achieve are scheduled compression, compression of concrete cycle times by up to 30%. We have a little case study at the end of this where I can talk through that. The second is I guess a much better understood and more typical application, which is just straight quality assurance around the implementation of a thermal control plan for mass concrete applications. And any engineers here will know that if you're specifying concrete, its performance in mass concrete applications. There's a minimum differential between the core and the edge of the pour that needs to be measured and proven in order for that concrete to pass the quality assurance test and to reduce cracking, for example, and other structural issues. And then the third use case, which is really part of the foundation story of Converge as a business, is the reduction of embodied carbon. So today we find that the ready mixers typically recognize that they over-engineer their concrete, and by over-engineer I mean have a quote unquote too much cement in their concrete mixes. And we are able to show the difference in performance between how the concrete is behaving in the lab in that traditional method of characterizing performance versus in situ. And what that lets us do is to give feedback into the ready mixer to say, well, actually your mix is going off much harder. It's going off much faster than expected. You can actually, I'm simplifying, but you can reduce cement content and still hit the performance and strength milestones that are required for this application. So that's a huge win and allows us to bend both the cost and the carbon curve in the right direction by reducing cement. So we have as a key differentiator of us of Converge as a business, we have the Converge Signal, which you'll see here, which is a fully sacrificial embedded device that gets attached to rebar and stays in the concrete. And then we have Converge Helix, which we're very excited to launch. It's a bit of a sneak preview here. We're very excited to launch in November, where only the cable, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but only the cable or the end of the cable remains embedded in the concrete to maximize reuse of the technology. And what's interesting about the two, Converge Signal has sort of 30 meters, 15 to 20 meters range. This has kilometers of range using the LoRa protocol. So that's very, very exciting. And then Converge Track we'll get onto when I talk about precast. So I mentioned a case study earlier. This was a case study in London working with Keltbray on the Chelsea Barracks construction project, and over the course of that project, you'll see that we were able to save them 48 days on that project, and the savings and the ROI speak for themselves in terms of the efficacy of the solution. Globally, we work with brands you would recognize. We've been on enormous in both infrastructure and commercial projects. And we're very, very proud that last year we closed a partnership with DeWalt in the US. So now if you're doing any concreting work in North America, you have access to Converge technology via DeWalt out in North America. So much for in situ concrete. And then I've just got two more slides about precast. So I'm sure most of the people on this call are aware of the sort of move towards DFMA, so design for manufacturing, where significant elements or significant parts of the project are developed off-site in precast factories and then shipped to site and then installed. Amazingly enough, I've only been around this industry in any detail for 3 years. I didn't realize how much of this stuff got lost, and not lost on the road, lost in the factory. So really what we've done is we've developed a solution that, yes, looks at cure, so the performance of the concrete, yes, looks at optimizing the process as with in situ, but importantly, looks at the location. So optimizing logistics, where is that element in this within the factory? How is it most efficiently loaded to move load by load to the construction site? And then how is it moved around that construction site to end up in its final location? So I didn't realize this was such a big thing, not anticipating that people would be losing, massive concrete elements in their factory, but they do. So you don't lose it. We have schedule ingestion and integration to ERP. And then you can see the other benefits there. So yeah, huge benefits to the site, and importantly, we can show traceability from the site to in terms of where it is in the yard, but also when it leaves the yard and when it arrives on site, which takes away a lot of the discussions that we have between factories and sites. So customers and in terms of factories being able to prove to their customers that they have actually delivered what they said they would deliver when they would deliver, and takes away a lot of the sort of wait time challenges that we see people debating. And that was it really. Very happy to take any questions. Yeah, thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Tim, for that presentation. Yeah, as you said, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to do so.
Hi, Tim. So it's Angelo from Impulse as well, analyst here at Impulse. I just had also a quick question on one of the use case that you can maybe face in
Sure.
for your solution. Have you ever crossed? I mean, there's some concrete roads that can be also built. Can you apply your solution to the concrete roads to be able to gather data on when's the next maintenance for the roads could be, or when to refurbish the road? Because that's
interesting. Yeah. So the big variable that we have with that is battery life.
Okay.
So we sample at the moment every 20 minutes in terms of the embedded devices, and at that interval we get up to sort of 2 years of battery life. We can stretch that a little bit, but probably not sufficiently to do long-term monitoring of sort of predictive maintenance windows and all that. We had a product that we where we were looking to do that, but we were hitting this wall in terms of we called it structured DNA. But we then stepped back from that because where we saw the most benefit in terms of decarbonisation was during the construction phase as opposed to during the in-life phase. So yeah, it's something we've considered. We did have a solution for it, but we've seen the industry adopt the construction, our technology at the construction phase more.
All right, clear. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. If there aren't any more questions, or also we will be sharing all pitch decks and all presentations afterwards, and contacts for the speakers. So if there are more questions that pop up, please do feel free to get into contact with them. That's it for now. If you have questions, please do feel free. We still have a bit of time. If not, we invite you to participate and share feedback, any insights and comments you have following today's sessions. As I said, we will be able to transmit these to the speakers. Thanks to all the startups, all the speakers today for a successful session, really good quality presentations, and thank you also to Grant for presenting what you do at Thornton Tomasetti too. We have a few more events coming soon. Our next online innovation session will be on the 17th of January 2024, and we'll focus on smart cities. So that's similar to this one with a different theme. So we'll have a new cohort of exciting solutions ready for then. We'll share more information obviously with you very soon about that. And yeah, thank you everyone who's tuned in today. We hope to hear from you all soon, and if you do have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out, however you may see fit.
Thanks, Mattis.
Thank you so much, everyone. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.